So good morning, everyone. We're excited for you joining us. This is our presentation of Is Your Destiny Worth It? About researching, choosing, and transferring between institutions and programs. My name is Katie Lentz, and I have with me David Ferreira from Oral Roberts University. So next slide. So just a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Katie Lentz. I am the International Admissions Representative along with David at Oral Roberts University. We've loved working with the international students and have just excited to be able to work with this. I am raised in the US, but I have traveled to 32 different countries, and I do call a lot of these students my own, and they call me mom. Next slide. So for your college and international, your university journey, this is going to be quite your own. This is not going to be the same as somebody else's because you are unique. Your needs are unique, your wants are unique, your expectations are unique. So you need to make your university journey unique to you. If the US is where you want to study, then you can study whatever you want, wherever you want. The US allows you to definitely expand your world. Next slide. So what we're going to cover today is just how to research and find your fit, some majors, minors, and special programs, the idea of changing your major or minor, and then pathways to your career. Next slide. So the different types of universities and colleges in the US, there's many different types. There's over 4,500 universities in the US. So you've got community colleges, technical colleges, for-profit, nonprofit, tribal, private, public, research, etc. Then you're going to have some special focus institutions that are liberal arts, law, faith-based, medical schools, or just engineering schools. So it really depends on what you want to do. Again, your unique needs on what type of university or college you're going to go to. So here's the question is, what are you interested in studying? I mean, seriously, what are you interested in studying? What are you going to be doing for 20 years from now? No, really try to answer that. What are you going to be doing for 20 years from now? So some program specific from the majors and minors. So what is a major? Your major and your future occupation are not necessarily identical. A major is a specialized area a study consisting of 30 to 50% of your full degree plan. A minor is an area of academic concentration. The minor doesn't require many classes and it doesn't show up on your diploma. You can pursue many minors, and proper planning can help you make use of this. For the major, this is going to be the broader sense of the field. So it's the most number of credits, at least 50% of your credits are going to be in this. And they're going to be tailored toward what you want to study. Everything else that's going to fill in are going to be your foundational classes, and you can always change your major. Next slide. So when should I declare my major? Honestly, you can declare your major at any point in time on your application when you're admitted into the university. Some programs require you to declare your major right away. Other programs, you don't have to. You can declare them later. Some majors allow you to change it even within a couple years from graduating. As an F1 visa holder, you need to declare your major pretty quickly because consulate officers don't want to see exploratory. That's not very good when you go to your visa appointment. So there are consequences if you want to change your major or if you declare it late. The US visa officers may not think you're ready to start a program in the US and might deny your visa if you wait to declare your major. So that's why it's really good to do it when you apply. You might have to spend longer time in the university and spend more money on tuition because you're going to have more requirements for changing your major. Next slide. So the double major versus the dual major. This is going to be really important. We get a lot of questions about this. So a double major is 2 degrees in different fields, like a Bachelor's of Arts in Communication and a Bachelor's of Science in International Business. Not all schools are going to allow a double major, the double major being the Bachelor's of Arts and a Bachelor's of Science. You probably will spend longer time in school with the double major because not a whole lot of classes are going to overlap. The dual major is if you're going to get like a bachelor's of science with 2 different concentrations, like international business and communications. This is easier to do, but it's still going to probably take you a little bit longer. So at least another year to be able to complete this, depending on the major. Majors are not trophies. Having more of them do not make you any better. Double majoring narrows the possibilities of classes to choose from. So please make sure that if you plan to double major, you have got a really good reason as to why you're doing it, not just doing it because you want to say, I did 2 majors. Next slide. So core and general education requirements. All the liberal arts universities in the US are going to require general education courses. And these are courses that all students will take, and they're going to be able to give you just that background knowledge. So everybody's going to take history, English composition, science, etc. And then that's going to go into your major courses and then your elective courses. Elective courses are simply courses you elect to take. So that's going to be the difference in those. Next slide. So what's the difference in liberal arts versus the professional majors? Liberal arts degrees are the examples like English, psychology, biology. Your coursework is going to be humanities of the area of focus, and you can take these jobs pretty much anywhere. So a job in communications is going to be able to get you a job in many different companies. The professional degrees are like the pre-nursing, education, pre-law, pre-med. These are going to be very practical in nature, and they're going to prepare you to go on to graduate schools in that field specifically. So the curriculum is going to be very defined, and you have to be able to know what you're doing ahead of time. So you don't just think in your junior year, I think I'm going to be a nurse, because then you're basically starting all over. For degrees like pre-law, you can actually get a degree in pretty much anything. Political science is a favorite, international relations is another favorite, and then go on to law school. It just depends on what type of law that you want to practice. Next slide. So what are you going to do with that liberal arts degree, with that history, philosophy, literature degree? So it's going to give you critical thinking skills. So not just rote memorization, but what to do, different avenues on how to view the different situations. It's going to give you problem solving skills. So working on assignments with different personalities, being involved in broad courses require intelligence and problem solving. Research and writing, you have to be able to put in more than 140 characters in your Twitter feed to be able to have good writing skills. It's going to be super important. And then the marketplace value. These degrees are going to make you employable. Like I said, you're going to be able to use that communications degree in many different areas. Valuable. So employers want someone who can fit into their team, who can go above and beyond, who can work in a few different areas. It's going to make you valuable. Longevity. That means I can stay in my career for a long time. So if you are going to get that degree in something that, artificial intelligence is going to take over one day, then there's not a whole lot of longevity in your career. You need to think about that. And enjoyable long-term. So this isn't just something you're going to do for the next 5, 10, 15 years. This is the rest of your life. This is a really huge decision. And you need to make sure that you choose your major based on something that you know you're going to love for a long time. All right, next slide. So at this point, I am going to let David take over. I actually have a flight to catch. So David, I'm going to let you take over and continue on to how a major has to relate specifically to a career.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, so I did want to continue on the majors. 20 to 50% of students begin their career as undecided or exploratory, that Katie was mentioning. So most majors do not really lead to that specific job by design. So while taking your general education classes your first year, there's these sort of try-on classes in the general area that you're interested in. For example, if you want to do something in business, take a marketing, management, or advertising course or something related to business. But if you're going to do something like engineering, then you're going to have basic math classes and engineering core courses. So one important thing for you to do is to really get to know your academic advisors, set up bi-monthly appointments with them, even if it's just to talk through ideas for their professional opinion. You really want to know the process involved in selecting a major and or changing a major, and make sure that the outcome of the requirements is something that you are ready for in the length of time required, along with the investment of the finances for that degree. So say students interested in doing something in law or going into the medical field, there is a bit more requirements, a bit more time and investment as far as finances go to get a degree in those areas. Be able to explain your major to everyone. If you can't do that, then you might not be in the right major. So just something to consider. The next thing we want to be able to do is and learn how to do is how to research and find your fit. You want to look at what is important to you. Every student is different, and your needs and wants are different. So what kind of funding do you have? Where do you want to study? What kind of size is the campus? Do you want a massive campus? Do you want a smaller campus? Do you want something in between where you can go around and not know everybody, but at the same time it's going to be at the smaller size where you can get to know a lot of people and know most people? What does that size look like? What is the cost of living in that area? What is the cost of living on that campus? All of those are important to consider, along with the program minor and the rankings in the programs and the minors. So you want to make sure that they have what you want to study, what kind of safety is on campus, have they've been rated as far as their safety goes. Is there a job placement rate that you can look at? And what's the return on the investment? Are you going to have a good amount of return on your investment? Has a lot of the students that have graduated from that college gotten a job or gone into graduate school? If so, have they done that in the major that you're interested in? So it's something really, really important to consider. And also the location, as I mentioned earlier. Do you want to live in a bigger city? Is it more of a rural city? Is it a metropolitan city? Location is something that is really important, because this goes into the living expenses that can be pretty expensive. But rural means that you may not have the amenities you're looking for, like groceries from your home country, community from your home country, a mosque or church, or etc. So just something really that you should consider and research to find a college that is a good fit for you. So find how to research and find your fit. One of the things that we did mention, and we'll go into depth a little bit more, is the program major and minor rankings. Is your program available? What are the rankings? Is the ranking or the rankings important to you? Internships or work-related experiences with course credit, something to ask the professors if you get a chance to meet with them. The campus size, is it large, small, medium, larger classrooms, or smaller classrooms, meaning if you have smaller classrooms, you get one-to-one attention from the professors. So that means you get to really work and develop the skills that you need in your given classes. Your person, not a number. So usually you can be in a bigger you can be a bigger fish in a small pond, or a small fish in a large pond. So what is your need? Do you need to have that interaction with the professors? It's that's something to consider. And how important is your safety? I think it's pretty important. I think that's a given. Anywhere you go, I think you should find a safe campus. So just look into that. Ask the counselors that you're talking to, the job placement rates. Is your in your chosen field, how many students secure jobs? What are the opportunities from the institution? Are there internships or co-op programs? Are there any company networking sessions? Are there companies that are directly donating funds to that university, or what are some of the relationships that they have? And again, what's that return on your investment? Is this program worth investing in? If you have a loan, how many years will it take for you to pay off the loan after securing that job? You consider these things and really what your earning potential might be in that given program. So, and with that degree as well. What college should I choose versus what college is the best fit for me? Um, what is the right college? That's something that it's someone else's choice. The college with the best marketing, possibly, or is it the U.S. News and World Report? There's nothing worse than finding your dream school and you realize that it doesn't offer the major that you've ultimately chosen. So really, it comes down to the professors. By selecting um, by selecting a major, you're selecting a group of people who will be your primary instructors and mentors. You'll begin to think, act, and talk like them. If you don't like them, you probably will end up not liking yourself. So this is the closest thing to choosing your parents. Really, you want to, you don't want to settle. If you want to study whales, study marine biology. If your parents really want you to go to a certain school due to prestige or ranking, but that school doesn't offer um, marine biology, then don't settle. Really, you need to determine what you want to study, and if that's what you want to do for the rest of your life, then that's really what you should focus on. School's reputation is important. Do your research. Make sure that the school that you want to attend is known for that major. And every school has a couple of different major offerings, but are only known for a handful of those. So have a backup plan. Make sure that what college you choose has at least 2 of your top 5 majors. For example, architecture and construction management, if you are interested in the design of buildings, or maybe interior design. So there's a couple different things that you can look for with a certain interest that you have, especially when it comes to major offerings. The other thing is, best fit. How do you know? Make sure you go through a self-assessment test. Who are you? What do you want to do? How hard have you worked in school? Your GPA. How involved are you in the life of the school? What makes you special? The college assessment. Narrow down that field. Create a working list, create a working life and a final list. So you want to make sure that you have you're making sure that that college is the right college for you. The college selection, there are more than 4,000 degree granting institutions in the US. Students apply to 4 to 8 different colleges, especially US citizens. So something that's pretty important to consider. So I did want to answer one question real quick here. I had a student ask a question, how can a foreigner as me actually apply to a university in the US to start off this summer? That's something that every student can apply to any university in the US, and each university has counselors that'll work with you. Like, for instance, me, an international admissions representative, I work with students in Latin America at Oral Roberts University, and we all work to make sure that students get an opportunity to apply and know what the process is like for each and every school. So talk with those representatives, make sure that you know what their requirements are. Each school is a little bit different, but they're usually going to be pretty similar, and we'll go into that here a little bit more. So moving on with the making the choice. Really, choosing a major is your choice, and it's no one else's choice. You have to live with that decision for the rest of your life. So own it, even if you aren't paying for it. And that's something important to consider, because a lot of times your parents are going to be the ones supporting you. Choosing a major is a process that takes an investment of time and work from you, no one else. Choosing something to study based off upon someone else's ideas, not will not lead to happiness. Happiness is a personal. So you should choose your major of choice. Every major has pros and cons to consider: class sizes, advertisement support, job placement, etc. I mean, there's safe majors that will typically allow you to have a job somewhere else: mathematics, health sciences, business, education, computer and information sciences. So really, there's also versatility, and make sure that you're learning the skills for a future job market. A practical skill that will set you apart, can build on that you can build on as your future becomes your present. Really, you want to start learning things that you can apply after you graduate. So it's not just about, what does my GPA look like? Am I acing the courses? And you don't get anything out of it. You want to be able to apply some of that knowledge and have some practical skills to present to your employers, to put on your curriculum once you graduate. So when you work hard at something, you become pretty good at it. And you want to become good at something, you enjoy doing it more. When you enjoy doing something, there's a good chance that you will become passionate about it. So it's really important when making that choice and knowing exactly what all the different factors are to consider. So because you want that job, how do you work towards getting that job? Why are you investing your time and resources in your education? To really consider this question. I mean, why are you wanting to pursue this job? Why do you want to work towards getting this specific job? Have you looked into it at all? Like, what is it that's driving you towards that, and all of your resources towards that? Um, really consider that. I think it's really important when looking at the majors. So there are skills that are desired by employers, and that's something that I think is important to consider as well. They all want to see communication, honesty, integrity, teamwork skills, flexibility, adaptability, and so on. The list is there on the screen for you to look at. So if you aren't using your major in your work, why the U.S. Bureau of Labor estimates that an average person changes career 2 to 3 times in their lifetime, and sometimes that's more. I mean, the skills you gain in your coursework are going to prepare you for transferable skills that you will need in any job. In a survey done through the National Association of College and Employers, these were the skills ERs look for in potential candidates. I encourage you to think more about how you're going to gain some of the skills throughout your college career, whether through activities, clubs, volunteering, internships, etc. So you really want to be able to have the skills listed on the screen, but look into the job that you're looking at. Look at your potential career to see what are some of the skills that they require for people looking at this specific career. Also moving on to the different majors and opportunities that you may have. Look at those major requirements. I mean, degree plan sheets. Make sure that there's no surprises when you get into biology pre-med, and then you realize, oh wait, I'm gonna have to be in school for a very long time. So talk to the adults who have the careers that you're interested in and what they studied to get there. That might be completely different than their current field that they're in right now. So they may have studied something else. So listen to their journey, see what they went through to figure out what they wanted to do, figure out what are some of the topics that completely bore you as opposed to those that you're very well interested in. Make sure that you have some volunteer internships, summer classes, see and really figure out what is it that motivates you, and test before you invest that money, invest your time, invest everything you have to apply to university in the US. So if you don't like the field at the bottom, odds are you won't like the field higher up either. So just dip your toes in the water, see what that feels like, especially in that specific area. So the long-term goals minded, you really want some programs that require specific bachelor degrees. So is a bachelor of science in something? Is it a bachelor of arts? Um, what does your career require? If you're really passionate about a certain topic and you want to work in that field, you should already be doing it. So if you're already someone doing something in something specific right now in your hometown at in your community, that's something that really consider, see, can I make this a career? How can I do that? What are some of the different careers related? And talk to some of those different major major related jobs around your area. Something to keep in mind. Here's a list that you can kind of read through. You don't want to choose a major based on income and potential alone. College is a business decision, and it requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of financial investment. Money doesn't buy happiness. Your career will consume at least 40 hours of your time every single week. Don't let those 40 hours be dedicated to something that you are doing only for the money. Influence can be a positive or negative. Don't let someone else discourage you from a challenging major just because they think it's challenging. I mean, really, they aren't doing the major. You are. The decision is yours and yours alone. A king should be strong. He accepts counsel, but only when he asks for it. He makes a clear decision. He makes clear that the final decision is not his, but his counselors. Be the king over your college major, not your counselors, right? So remember this: what you own, and know why you own it. So, what is your college education if not an investment? Don't let a whim put you in debt. So, really know exactly what you're going for. Do your research. Remember this: know what you do in the classroom is usually a very poor indicator of what an actual career in your major will be like. Get experience as soon as possible. Go do just those internships. Go shadow somebody in that field. I mean, here's a terrible gut-wrenching secret about um, your you and your friends. You are different. Do what you want to do. Don't follow your friends. You're your own person, and also don't double major without a good reason. College majors are not Xbox achievements or Pokemon. They're not games. You don't want to collect them like trophies. Really never stop learning, but you don't need a degree in everything. You just need one degree. You only need to do it for 4 years or less. You don't need to be in school for 5 years doing a double major and something that's not going to help you in your career. So also remember, don't wait too long to choose your major. Remember, college is an investment. Don't wait too long to buy in. Otherwise, you're buying at the top of the market, and your initial planned investment just got a whole lot more expensive. So don't wait. Don't choose your major basically solely upon a romanticized image. Do you actually want to get your hands dirty and do computer engineering, or are you just waiting to be like all the cool hackers in the movies? Movies are a great inspiration, but remember, they are just a snapshot about what that looks like. So you might see 60 seconds of an actual computer work. You will be actually doing this for 40 hours a week for many years. So you got to change your perspective. Part of successfully reaching a destination or achieving a goal is having a clear path, and to follow that path and avoiding pitfalls along the way. So research is so important. What if I change my mind? Life happens. You can always change your mind, but first, there's some things to consider. Are you not happy and you want to switch your major, but you're not sure what to switch to? Is there an alternative plan? Is the change necessary? Consider taking time off for an internship. Make sure that you're fully aware of what this gap slash term will do and to your financial aid package. Don't waste a semester, year, and money trying to figure out what you're really invested in. How far into your program are you? How much costs are involved? Affordability? Are there better internships? Moving expenses, etc. If you are only in a few classes short of completing your current major, consider graduating school instead of changing your major. There will be expenses involved in the switch due to the coursework that you'll add on to your current degree, and that new major will be completely different. So switching a major between two concentrations in the same department is a lot easier than changing colleges. For me, specifically, I came in and I was a business administration major, ended up switching to marketing and then switching to international business. So because I stayed in the same school, I was still able to graduate early because I stayed in the College of Business. So don't quit because others in the major are better than you. There are a lot more people that are smarter than me that were in the College of Business. But the point of going to college is to learn. So learn, get better, and put that time and investment into what you're doing. There's also a graduate school option. Can you maybe get a Bachelor of Science in biology and end up thinking, I really want to do business? Well, go out and get your Master's of Business Administration. Or there's always switching institutions. If you decide that you want to switch institutions for any reason, do the research, because not all of your hard-earned credits will transfer. So something really important. I mean, switching institutions in the same state, same system, many universities in the same university system, University of California, University of Houston, etc. But some of them are not. So make sure you ask and you do your research behind those switches as well. Some of the things that we should consider, time to ask yourself some questions about yourself. So remember that this is your major, but kind of start asking yourself some things to know what you want to do. Remember that this is your major, hence it's really your choice. So taking the important consideration what your parents and advisors tell you, because they have your best interest at heart. Taking a gap year for many students or getting some work experience is not a bad idea. Figuring out exactly what you will want to do will save you money in the end due to staying in a course with a plan in mind. If you go into a course and don't have that plan in mind, you could end up changing your degree, and that will end up costing you more money and time. There's also things to consider. Do I realistically understand what it takes to do this? What are the course requirements? What are the time requirements? Internships, fellowships, etc. Don't forget about potential work environments. So what does it look like in the office versus working in the field? What are some of the different ways that that this career can look like? What kind of jobs can I get in this field? Check out the job search sites like Indeed, Monster, Career Builder, LinkedIn. I mean, there's so many that you can look at and check out what the career objectives might be, or what the careers and jobs on the market are right now. Number 5, am I willing to do graduate studies in this field? And I think this is a very big question. What are you willing to commit to this field? Are there jobs that work with this kind of lifestyle that you want? Lifestyle is everything from monetary to flexibility and location to social. I mean, how much money you're gonna make will determine where you can live, what kind of apartment you can have, what kind of car you can drive. So all of these things are very important to consider. And does this topic bring me joy? If it brings you joy, crunching numbers in a small office, do it. If it brings you joy sweating in deserts of Africa, digging up bones, then do it. If it brings you joy being the captain of a private yacht, then do it. I mean, you want to know what bring you brings you joy. Sometimes it's the smallest decision that can change your life forever. So do what brings you happiness. Some tips for the road, and this is pretty important. I mean, don't choose a major upon income potential alone. College is a business decision. Time and investment, money won't buy happiness. And as I said before, I mean, your career will consume those 40 hours of your week, and don't let it be those 40 hours just dedicated to money. Influence, don't let authority figures influence you too much. Influences can be very positive, they can be very negative, and don't let them discourage you from a challenging major just because they think it's challenging. Remember, this is your decision. The other thing is do your due diligence. Remember this. Know what you own and why you own it. So this is your college education is an investment. So don't just let your desires or potential dreams guide that investment. Number 4, get experience in your chosen major early. What you choose to do in the classroom is usually a very poor indicator of what actual career in that major will look like. Remember, so you want to know what that major will look like, the outcomes of that career will look like after you graduate. Don't follow your friends, your own person. Remember that really what they're studying doesn't mean that because you're with your friends, you're going to be cool just like them. I mean, it's your major. You're going to want to study what you want to do. You're different. You have your desires. You have your skills. You have gifts and talents that are unique to you. So use those specifically. There's also, you have to remember, don't double major without a good reason. There's a lot of different majors, and it's not something you want to collect altogether. You want to do something specific. The other thing is, remember that college is an investment. Don't wait too long to get into that, and choose your major, and know that exactly what you're buying and why you're doing that. The number 8 is don't choose your major based upon solely a romanticized image of what you want to do. Do you actually want to get your hands dirty? Do you want to do computer engineering, or are you just being like all cool hackers in the movie that I mentioned earlier? I mean, you've only seen what you've seen maybe on a TV show, on movies. What exactly does that look like? So, is your destiny worth it? I think it's an important question to ask yourself. What is my destiny worth? What is it worth? That time, the investment, is it worth everything that I've done research on? Do I want that career specifically? Have those questions, and I'd love to get a bit more feedback from all of you specifically. So I'll put a couple questions up on the screen so that you can kind of maybe answer some questions about some potential careers or majors that you might have. So I'll go ahead and I'll launch that for you to go ahead and have. If music were not an object, how would you fill your days? And this is a multiple choice question, so feel free to answer whenever you can. There's going to be a couple more questions here at the end of the session, but would you fill your days sleeping? Would you fill your days researching, traveling, teaching, helping others, building your business? What exactly does that look like for you? Something important to consider. What do you want to do? Good. So, some people said sleeping. That's what you would fill your time. That's good. Some people said traveling. That's good. Some of the people said helping others, building my business. Good. And it's definitely important to to know exactly what you want to do and how you can do that. If it's sleeping, you may want to focus on a job where you're only going to work maybe a couple days a week and then you spend the rest of the day sleeping. If you want to do traveling, maybe you should look into careers in airlines, helping others. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can do that, whether in the medical field, whether that's social work. What does that look like? Building your business, I mean, that's pretty easy. Doing something related to business. Let me see if I can get this up here. So, second question: when I grew up, I want to be an engineer. I want to be a doctor, a teacher, a nurse, a politician, a community builder, a computer scientist. What is it that you want to be? Go ahead and make sure that you choose one of those. I'll share these results here in a second so that everybody can see what most people are choosing. You really consider what you want to do. When you were little, what was it that you were thinking of that you wanted to do as a little kid? I'll give you maybe 30 more seconds to choose that, and then I'll share those results with everybody. All right. So we had one person answered saying that they wanted to be a doctor. Maybe you don't have one of the career that you have isn't listed up on there, so that's okay. But yeah, I mean, you want to know exactly what you want to do. The other question I wanted to ask everybody is, um, when I plan to attend school for how many years? This goes in directly into the careers that you want to have. So I'll put this up for another 30 seconds. If anybody wants to answer, that's fine. If not, no worries. But what do you plan to attend school for? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. What do you know what your career will entail? How many years of study that will entail? So how many of those years are you ready to invest into that career? Go ahead and let me give you a couple more seconds to answer if you need to. And go ahead and that. So one person answer they've been in school for 4 years. So and that's good. Most people are going to be wanting to do school for a less amount of time than others. Typically, 4 years is what most schools will require from you. So it's definitely important to have that in mind. Um, the other the other important question is, where do you want to study? What kind of area do you want to study in? You want to attend a university that in a big city, a famous city, New York, and Chicago, is it LA? Is it a smaller city? Maybe a city that you've never heard of before, a small little town? Is it a city that feels like a community, somewhere that's close to maybe extended family that you have here in the U.S., somewhere that you've never been, somewhere that feels like home? What does that look like for you? So I'll leave that up for maybe a couple more seconds, just so you can see that. Good. Yeah. So this ending, um, kind of knowing where you want to attend university is a pretty important question, um, and knowing what that looks like. So I'd love to just open the time here so that we can see if anybody has any questions here towards the end about any specific major, any specific career that you'd be more interested in. Maybe what it's like in the U.S. for specific majors. if you have any questions, please let us know. I'll be more than happy to answer those for you. Um, I did get a I did see that a student who wants to be a lawyer, which is a great example of a career. Like I mentioned earlier in the session, a lawyer is typically going to be a career that you're going to do your undergraduate degree, maybe in history and government, political science, and you have to graduate and then go off and do your master's, go to law school, and make sure you get that law degree. So it's going to have a bit more requirements. You're going to be in school a little bit longer, depending on how long you take to do your undergraduate degree. But that's something that to consider, that time and everything. But yeah, well, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the session. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to us here or you or my college towards the sea. If you have any other questions, I'd be more than happy to connect with y'all. And thanks again for joining me, and hope you have a great day.
Thank oh, thank you so much, David, for presenting. It was very insightful, and I'm sure everyone actually got something from it. You can check out Oral Roberts over in the exhibit hall if you want to ask any more questions. Bye now.